Welcome to another episode of Stack and Scale. I'm Brandon Redlinger, and today I'm excited to be chatting with Katie Berg, the VP of Marketing over at Klue. And I really wanted to have Katie on because a few weeks ago, she showed me how she used 9 different custom GPTs in her recent product launch. Now, we actually don't go into how to build a custom GPT. We did that in episode 1 with Dan Sanchez. So if you want a refresher or you missed that episode, go back and listen to episode 1 on how to build that custom GPT. But Katie used 9 to bring a recent product to market. And yes, she is gracious enough to give us all 9 of those so you can play around with it. You can plug your product and your messaging in and go through the entire process of launching a product with her custom GPTs. And of course, plug in your own data in there. But what I really loved about this is she walked through how she's thinking about the jobs to be done and her roadmap for actually building an AI strategy. And it's probably the best AI strategy that I've heard anyone articulate. So I think you're going to love this episode. Without further ado, here's my conversation with Katie Berg. Katie, welcome to the show.
Hi, Brandon. How are you?
I'm good. I can't get my hair keeps flipping out like this a little bit, and that's my sign that like I need a haircut because I keep like trying to lick, and like pat it down.
That's such a male experience to be like my hair's gotten like 2 millimeters longer and I can't stand it.
Yeah, exactly. No, it drives me crazy because I get on these calls and then my hair's like flipping out. I'm like, chill out, hair.
That's so funny. It's
But
like
how
I
are you
wasn't aware
doing?
of that. Now I know. I'm doing great. I mean, we were talking earlier before. It's hectic out there. It's
It is.
it's
It is.
hectic, but it's good. It's going well.
Cool. Well, tell the audience what you're going to show us today.
Okay, so what I want to get to is we built internally for our team a product launch GPT, and it's um, oh my God, it's a combination of 9 different custom GPTs that we've put together that help with product launches, and that's what I'm going to jump into later. But I thought we might want to start with talking a bit more about building your AI roadmap, building your AI strategy as a marketing team, if you think that would be useful.
Yes, because I really haven't got deep down into this, and I know you've been putting a lot of thought around this. So yes, let's definitely start there. How do you think about what we should be building and just the maturity along the way?
Cool. Great. I'm going to jump into some actual slides if that's helpful, so
Let's
we can
do
take
it.
a look at. I started this year kind of looking at how our teams were jumping into AI building, and there's so much energy, and I'm sure you're seeing that across the teams and the people that you're working with too. Everyone's super excited about what you can do, but you start to see really quickly that without like a really strong strategy in place, you can be spending a lot of time and cycles building stuff that like doesn't really move the needle.
Or
So
people like have a strategy, but the strategy is just go use AI, and it's not like that's not a strategy.
yeah, exactly. And you know what? It was really actually awesome because I think as a company, we've done a really good job of building a culture of just build and share out loud with what you're testing and
Mhm.
actually trying to foster creativity. And after you get that energy and momentum of creativity and energy and people wanting to build, I really quickly wanted to say, let's make sure we're building like the right stuff that's going to help move the needle.
Yeah.
So for us, I've taken the Salesforce Agentic maturity model that they put out earlier this year and sort of put it in simpler terms to give my team a baseline on understanding what are the different levels of agentic maturity and how do we as a team want to approach it. So I'm just
Mhm.
going to walk through that. At level 0, this is where, I mean, this is certainly where a lot of people are like testing and playing, and it's building those prompt-based assistants, so your custom GPTs. I threw a bunch of content into a custom GPT, and now it helps me with, insert task. It might be your emails, or it might be some other small tasks. So that's at level 0. It's a great place to start. At level 1, you start integrating with other data sources. At level 2, your GPTs start to take actions, or you start to actually build agentic workflows. My agent is going to go into Notion and do something, or update a cell in a spreadsheet. Level 3 is where it's like I almost feel like we're getting into the matrix here, and I'm not that focused on it because I think solutions are going to get more clear in the future. But
Yeah.
now you have like GPTs or agents working across different tools and systems, and at some point, orchestration between them. But I use this just as like a grounding framework to the team to say, hey, it's okay, and it should be intentional that we start at level 0. And if the worst case scenario is we now have 100 custom GPTs at this level 0, and that that's too many or that causes new problems, we'll just face those problems when we get to them. And that's
Yeah.
been just like helpful guidance, I think, to the team to know what's okay to do. So
Well, I feel like the maturity of the market itself is at level 3 right now. I don't know how too many people that are so comfortable with GPTs, like, or the agents taking all of the action, right? Like, I don't think there's trust in the
mm-mm.
agents themselves yet.
Have you tried using OpenAI's agent for any actions yet at all?
Yes, and I got as far as here's the flight or here's the restaurant, but I still haven't said, okay, here is my credit card, now go book it for me. I have not gone that far yet.
No, you know what? I tried last week to use, there's a Notion integration, and I thought this would be awesome if I could give it an outline of a project plan that we wanted to build in to see what it could do in Notion. And to your point, it's just, there's probably so much more prompting and prompting sophistication I would have to
Yeah.
level up on for it to be useful. But my initial tests, I was in a totally like clean Notion space, thankfully. It
Hmm.
was doing the wildest things. It jumped into Notion. It was going into the most random of sections. It was typing emojis versus like random words. So I agree with you. I don't think we're like in a place of confidence of having things take action yet.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I
yeah.
mean, like you said, I'm sure we'll get there. And even some of the other stuff I've tried, like integrating it or having MCPs do work in Canva. Me actually just going to Canva is actually way easier.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah, you're watching it do something in Canva, being like, no, stop, stop that. Let me
I,
just do it myself.
I was actually using it to try to build invitations for my 2-year-old's birthday party,
Mhm.
and what it gave me was nothing close to usable.
Really.
Yeah, it's like that doesn't look like a dinosaur. I don't know what the hell that is, but that's not a dinosaur.
And that's like a pretty simple
Yeah,
task.
it was such a simple. So, I'm sure in like 2 weeks it's going to be perfect. Because things are moving so quickly. But like right now, anyway.
And I mean, and that's okay, and that's like the point, right? And I
Yeah,
felt
yeah,
like in some areas of our work, we were almost like I could see some of the tools we were thinking about building on our marketing team, and we were getting so complex, and it needs to like look at this thing and then look at that thing and do all of this. And I was like, whoa, whoa, let's just like start at level 0 and see how far we can get. So
yeah,
what I built that I thought would be useful
yeah.
to take you through is this like 3-step workshop that we ran with our team at the end of the quarter to help product product marketing, content, brand, demand, and the SDR team put together each of their own roadmaps for what tools they want to
Mm,
build and what order. And so I think these like 3 steps could be used by any marketing team, by any marketing leader that's just trying to provide a level of structure to how to think about building your roadmap and your plans. And at the simplest level, to me, it all starts by actually listing out our actual jobs to be done.
you're
So you and
such
I
a
were
product
chatting.
marketer.
That's product mark. I know. Can you tell that I've been working with product marketers like for 8 years at Klue?
Yeah.
I laugh.
I love
So
it though. I mean, I'm a product marketer too.
yeah, well, and it also came from, there's a lot of things that I've also seen people build and they're super creative, but they sometimes get into this area of like novelty building. They're not solving an actual
Mm,
problem
hmm.
that we have to do in our jobs today. And I wanted to focus the team to say, look, let's just list out all of the jobs that are in your role or that take up your day-to-day work, right? Like what are the things you have to get done? And then let's look at them one by one and help to define. So the first step is simply that, just like listing out your jobs to be done, different ways to do this. You can use some different tools where you just like really take a step back and think about what are all the tasks I have to get done.
Oh, I like this.
Yes, and then we put them, and I don't think this is perfect, so I'd be like really curious to get your feedback. But then we put them on this quadrant where we're trying to frame them, all of the tasks you have to get done from in 2 different ways. On one axis, we're looking at how frequently is this happening? Is this a task you have to do every day, every week, multiple times a day? Like what is happening with this task? And then how complex is it? Because to me, what we end up building is this quadrant that it's not going to be
Mm,
perfect, but it's meant to help with the thinking process for you and for your team of what's the level of human involvement that we want with all these jobs to be done. Because to me, the purpose of AI is to elevate us as people to be able to do our most important work, our most creative work, and to be
Mm.
able to use it so that we can spend our time on the stuff that really matters and have it help us in the areas where it's best suited. So we're like working together.
Love it.
Yeah. And so we end up with these four quadrants. And on the bottom right, we sort of have like human in the loop work. So this is work that an agent could probably get 90% of the way on, but we still want that human in the loop, double checking. Was that the right messaging? Was that really like on point or on brand, or what would I change? And then in the top right, we have work that's human led. So here, like for product marketing, I look at a product launch and I'm like, I know that we always want our product marketing team to be refining and finalizing all of the copy for a product launch, but do I think that AI could help, a copilot could help them get to V1 faster? Yes. That's like
Mm-hmm.
perfect use case. And then on the top left, we have work that's not happening very often, but is super strategic and complex. And that's what I believe is like really human critical work. So for product marketing, it's your positioning, your persona or ICP development, like your go-to-market strategy, all this work that I really want my best brains to be spending as much of their time on as possible.
Wait, so are those more we're not using AI at all, or is it's mostly human and a little bit AI?
Yeah, so the thinking behind this quadrant is it helps to look at like what might be the roadmap of what I want to build first. And
Oh,
so these bottom two, which is like easy to automate or where I want human in the loop, I think we want to start with these ones because they're the ones where like we just want to keep humans in the
I
loop
see.
with, but like, you know what I mean? So it helps to guide that roadmap thinking of what is the priority of what you want to build. So in the future, I think you probably have AI that's able to assist with all of this. But as I'm looking at, we have limited time each sort of quarter. What are we trying to build and what problems are we trying to solve? I'm trying to go with the ones where we need the least human intervention first, and then make sure we're like keeping our getting towards those ones where they're acting more of a co-pilot, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Great. And then that's sort of the process. So you list out your jobs to be done, you put them onto this quadrant, and then you start to look at like, here's our example for our own product marketing team of what do we want to build in what order. And we decided like launches for us, product launches and releases were happening so frequently last quarter because the pace of sort of development of our product, that was the first one we definitely needed to support our product marketing team with. And so that was sort of the where the idea for building our Launch GPT came from. It was priority number one, and now that we've done that, we're like moving on to other tool building.
Nice.
Yeah. Have you? I guess I'm like curious before I move on, but have you seen other ways of framing or thinking about like building an AI strategy?
No, not really, to be honest. That's why I was so excited to dive into this because I think most like what is strategy and what is a plan and what really is a roadmap? And I think right now, especially when it comes to AI, no one has any frameworks on how to think about it. And the best that I've heard is, well, I'm just going to make sure that my team is using AI and I'm making sure some people are doing smart things like I'm building psychological safety on my team to go out and try to test things and fail and it be okay. Like I
Yeah.
just want them doing it. And I've even gone as far as to see companies that are like, if you're not using AI right now, you're going to be on a PIP, which I think is a little bit extreme,
Hmm.
right? And I won't name the company, but I think someone working there is going to listen to this. I don't think that's necessarily the right approach, but I like that there is some sort of forcing function for people to actually start leveraging AI more. But I mean, to answer your question, no, not really.
If I think even for me, like if nothing else, it was just useful to share that workshop with the team and then get them to go through the exercise.
Mm,
To your point, it's like a forcing function to say we all need to think about our strategy and our roadmap and try to be thoughtful about it. And it just gets creative ideas rolling. So I don't know that at the end of the day, what we've built for each of our teams is like the perfect roadmap,
sure.
but I feel excited that we're starting to get everyone on the team to think about not just how to build, but why and what to build.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I love that.
Cool. So, shall we talk about product launch GPT?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay. So, I know that you recently chatted with Dan Sanchez, and he went through sort of like what is in the back end, the structure of how to build a custom GPT.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So, I'm not going to repeat any of that, and I'm also not perfect to be doing that anyways. But what I'm going to do is build on that. Um, so what we tackled last quarter was building our own product launch GPT. And it actually is a combination of 9 different custom GPTs that act together to help us with all of the different work that needs to get done for a product release. So to that point I shared earlier, which is like, it's fine if we end up having these 100 custom GPTs that have to work together and we have new pains that come up from that. This was the approach that we took for our product launches. We built different ones, the first 3 that help with, or a first set of GPTs that help with nailing our messaging and narrative and positioning for a launch. And then after that, you get into all of these different ones that have been really purpose built for different types of channel specific communication. So we have one that's built for a blog post, like built with the architecture or structure that we would prefer for a product blog. We have one built for landing page copy or for a video script or email sequences. And so each of them were individually made. And the way that they work together is they start with this narrative bundle. So like I shared before, there's 3 that we start with: the positioning framework, the narrative, and then landing your sort of top 3 headlines for a product launch. These 3 are connected to this idea of wanting our people to be used for their most important work. So nailing the messaging and the narrative of a product launch to me is 90% of the job. And then
That's
turning
the
that into your
foundation for most of everything else that you're going to do.
Yeah, exactly. And actually this kind of relates to a lot of marketing work that we do, right? Like
Mm.
whether it's a campaign or anything, your brains are like so important at that beginning when we're nailing our messaging and our narrative. And once you've nailed that document, and that's what these 3 GPTs help us to do for our launches, is nail that messaging document. Once we've done that, it's really just a case of uploading that messaging doc into each of these additional 8 GPTs and getting a V1. And that's all we're really getting, but getting a V1 to start from of our blog post, our emails, our social
Mhm.
posts. A launch deck is like kind of sketchy. I don't know how much you've used Gamma or other things like that, but like it's not really there, but it helps us get pretty far on things. And the best example I have to share was we looked at all the outputs of this GPT inside with or alongside what our PMM was building on his own. And it was the video script one that was a really good unlock for me, because the video script itself, I preferred to what we had just our product marketer right at the time. And that's like no shade to him. It was just, I really liked the script structure. It really did a good job of utilizing the messaging. And it was
Mm.
just a good example of saying, look, like we can get pretty good. It wasn't perfect. It still needed a lot of fine tuning,
Sure, yeah.
but we can get a pretty good V1 if we spend the time like working with these custom GPTs. And that's where you need someone who like understands how to go into the back end, how to work the prompting, how to reverse engineer the structures that you like. But it was a pretty big unlock for me to just realize the value of getting to your V1s faster as a team.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. So okay. Is your product marketer? Oh no, you have multiple product marketers. Who's doing which parts, and how do they hand it off, and how does the next person know? Like, what is the output, and then what are they handing off so the next person knows? Okay, now I've got the document. Now I need to go do my thing.
Yeah, so now on the team, I mean, we had one product marketer at the time. Now we have a director of product marketing and content. So his work is going to be most important for that narrative bundle and nailing the messaging document. And now we have a manager of product marketing and content, and he often is writing our blog posts and our social and emails and stuff like that. So he'll take that messaging doc and then put it through these other 8 GPTs and then work on the V1s he gets from them. He makes his sort of draft, and then he's sending it back and forth with our director to finalize what that content looks like.
Nice, I like that. Okay, and have you thought about? Oh, yes, probably. Well, maybe it goes back to what humans should do versus what GPTs. I feel like a lot of people are using GPTs that are like, I haven't done a messaging doc before. ChatGPT, walk me through how to do a messaging doc. Or I'm sure there's plenty of other custom GPTs that someone already built that you can find on their, what do they call it? Not the store, the marketplace, or whatever they call it, right?
Yeah.
Why not have a custom GPT to put together that main messaging doc, or do you?
Yeah, well, this narrative one in the middle, that's kind of our messaging doc. So it
Oh,
gives
okay.
Yeah. So we start with the positioning framework. That's like, okay, give us context on the positioning of your product and give us some context on this product launch itself and like the product itself. And then it helps give a V1 of your messaging doc. And from there, there's like probably the most human work that you're going to have is to nail that narrative doc or that messaging doc, to
Yeah,
your
yeah,
point.
okay.
Yeah. So it's interesting you say that because right now we're building our own, or we've built our own based on our own messaging templates and our own preferred like sort of messaging doc
Yeah, yeah.
structure. And you as a marketing leader like guaranteed have your own, right?
Uh-huh.
Here's what I like a good messaging doc to look like.
Yep.
But I bet in the future, this beginning bundle, there will be like other apps or other tools that might even be better built, with examples of messaging templates or structures from a bunch of other marketing leaders. But we're just working with our own right now.
Nice, I love it. Okay, go back to your nine. Yeah,
Yep.
okay. Any tips for people? And Katie said she'll share all of the custom GPTs with everyone so that they can now take this and create their own documents and then hook them together.
Yep.
Any advice for how to use these together? Best practices, things that you tried that didn't work?
So the interesting thing that I did realize is each one really requires, how people will say you want like a subject matter expert paired with like that go-to-market engineer or your AI
Hmm.
engineer. That's really kind of true. So
Hmm.
the example was using this launch blog custom GPT. Our contractor had built it for us, and we put the messaging doc through, and it spit out a V1 of a blog structure. And almost immediately, I looked at it and I was like, I get that it's pulling the right messaging, but I don't like the structure or the flow of this content. I think we need to go back into this and we need to reverse engineer what we want our blog structure to be. And so there was actually a lot of back and forth that I had with our contractor to say, here's three other examples of launch blogs that I saw from us or from other companies, and I like their structure better. And it clicked for me when I was giving them this feedback that they had to then go into the back end of the custom GPT and look at these examples and reverse engineer the structure of what was happening with those posts. So there's a lot of work to be done to fine tune and iterate these things to really make them work well for you. And that's where I think to me, pairing a subject matter expert with like a builder, an identified builder on your team is what I think's needed to make these things useful. Otherwise, I would have throughput this messaging doc, gotten this V1 of a blog post, and basically been like, I don't really like this and I'm not going to use it. So I think to make things really usable, you have to invest time into the fine tuning.
Yeah, exactly. And you really don't get that. I mean, you need to practice to know what how to fine tune it, and over time you'll learn, you'll be a lot quicker at this. But yeah, I totally agree. And there was a recent podcast on Lenny's podcast where he sat down with a AI prompt engineer and gave just a ton of tips on the best way to structure, and he breaks some myths like if you tell it act like you're April Dunford or whatever, like that actually really doesn't do anything. So
Really?
yeah, I know, right? That's why I was. It's
I've
like
been suspicious of that, actually. That's so funny that you say that because I'm like, does that actually do anything?
right, exact. So yeah, he basically said like for some roles that does make sense, but for most of them,
Mhm.
actually they busted that myth that you don't have to say act like you're so and so. Like sometimes I still do it, like if I really want. Yeah, like actually, I still sometimes do say act like you're April Dunford, but
Yeah,
like
you're like,
act
why
like
not try? Like even even if it
yeah.
doesn't do anything, why not try?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, but I've been promoting that. I think it was I forget the dude's name, but yeah, it's all about prompt hacking and prompt engineering, and it's on Lenny's podcast. I'll link it up in the show notes. So.
You know what's interesting to know about this sort of approach, though, is, and it's connected to your point, is as an individual is using each of these GPTs, there's no like team shared memory. It's really individual shared memory. So you're
Mm.
training it for yourself on how you like things to be done. And so the risk as like a team leader, I think if I'm understanding this correctly, the risk as a team leader is that I have individuals that are using these custom GPTs and fine tuning them for themselves, but I don't know that it's creating a shared team memory based
Mm.
on that back and forth. And so that's where I think the importance of going into the back end and like continuously providing refinement to your prompting is actually really critical because that's what's going to be getting it closer to the types of V1 structures that you
Exactly.
want the team to use. Otherwise, a lot of that training I think gets lost if individuals like leave the team.
That's a
I
good
think,
point. Yeah, for
yeah.
sure. For sure.
There'll be, I don't know, there's probably going to be like a lot more development in tools and stuff that happens over the next year, but
Yeah.
I'm thinking a little bit right now about are the things that we're building, like, is some of that memory and learning lost based on how they're actually structured when people are coming and going from teams? So,
Yeah, that's a good point. Never thought about that, but no, I think you're totally right.
and ideally, you're building as a leader the like, here's the tool systems that we like, and like, together we're building their memory and feedback, and it continues working at the level we want, no matter who's on the team at any given point in time.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
will be something for us to think about.
Yep. Cool. Well, thank you so much for sharing this. As I said, we will link up all of these GPTs for people to play around with, use, give Katie some feedback on it. And then to close this out, Katie, let's jump into rapid fire. Are you ready?
Yeah, let me stop sharing my screen.
Okay, cool.
I'm nervous for rapid fire. What does that mean? Yeah, I'm ready.
It's easy. It's nothing crazy. Okay, what is your AI tech stack for marketing?
For marketing, we use we use Klue for our own compete stuff. We use OpenAI pretty hardcore. Some people have used Claude, some people hate it now. So that.
Your weapon of choice is.
And then we have other people on the team that are using like Gumloop, that are using N8N to like further some of their own building.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anything, are you using Gamma or anything for design?
Our team uses Midjourney. Like all of our compete agent stuff was
Nice.
all
Okay.
done through Midjourney. That was all prompting. All of that design work. So yeah, team is super heavy into Midjourney for like all of our blog post images and our campaign images now, which is really cool. And motion graphic, I don't know the name, but motion graphic stuff we all did through AI as well.
Using AI. Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else? Let's see. Yeah, what other AI tools are you playing around with? Are you excited about these days?
I feel like I'm like such a little newbie. I mean, I've tested things with
No,
Replit.
you're not a newbie at all. Why do
You've
you think I
probably
wanted
like
you on my why do you think I wanted you on the show?
Well, this is like if you want to know how I spent my time last week, I was like learning how to turn a static, you saw it, my like little
Yeah, yeah.
static snake image into like a 3D image, and like seeing the limits of Midjourney. So I was trying to test and play with that myself. The video stuff is pretty cool. I
Yeah, yeah.
haven't done anything with voice yet. I don't know if you have. And I've like wasted countless hours trying to build a Replit app and then just been like, there's a bug, debug, debug. So mostly that.
Yeah, that was my first experience with Replit too. It was like, wait, that wasn't right. Go fix this bug. And then I find another one. Wait, that wasn't right. Go fix this bug for sure.
Yeah.
But
The
no,
last thing was, yeah, just trying to figure out some of the agent, like how to up level my prompts on OpenAI to get some of those agentic workflows going. I'm like, I am going to figure out this Notion stuff. That's my mission.
oh, there you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
for voice, I mean, my answer is the same as everyone else. 11 Labs is the best right now.
Yeah.
So, but
What else are you using? What are the ones I need to check?
well, the one that have you heard Suno for audio for music? I mean, I was
Oh,
like, okay, I need some music for the intro to this podcast. And then it created something. I was like, damn, this is like good. This is catchy. I really like it. And then I just started playing around with other just like intro music. And now I want to use it on top of um, some explainer videos that I'm creating with my other clients or background music for case studies that we're doing.
I
So
love
that's one that was like, okay, this is actually really good. It got me great results without me having to play around with it for 3 hours to figure out what to do or how to
it.
actually create a good output. So that was one. And then I played around with GenSpark a bit. That's actually pretty good at creating slide decks.
What? Really?
Yeah.
I'm writing that down.
So and part of the challenge too with anything on design that I'm finding out
Hmm.
is you'll give it the exact same prompt and it'll give you a pretty different result. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I'm like, okay, you veered away from what I asked you to do from the last prompt just a little bit. Like your design changed a little bit. I want you to get back to that exact same design that you just gave me, and then it can't do it.
Do you
So
ever find that you're like, am I spending like so much more time on this task because I've had to go 25 rounds of being like, no, no. Like, go back to what you did the first time, keep that part. Don't change that part. Just change this other little tiny thing I asked.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when that usually happens, it's like, okay, start a new chat or start a new whatever. Like you got to start over again and then try to give it to the same chat, and then hopefully it's close enough. But every time, like as soon as it starts going off, it's so hard to just get it back on track. It's like it doesn't do it for whatever reason, whether that is ChatGPT or GenSpark or like I've tried Gamma a bunch too.
Really.
Yeah, I do like Gamma for certain things, although I wish there was just a little bit more customization or customizability on it. But
Sometimes I think with this stuff, it's just like we're just a little leading edge of like expectations
yeah,
of
yeah,
right? And you're like, it will get there eventually. Like these problems should be easy to solve. We're just like not quite there yet, but
yeah, yeah,
it's a matter of
exactly. Well, it's their fault for selling us the vision that AI can do anything, and then when we expect it to, it doesn't.
yeah, I know. Fun times, I guess.
Okay, next question. I'm terrible at rapid fire because I
They're like
always go on.
medium fire,
Yeah,
medium
exactly.
fire.
Where do you go to learn AI, keep up with the latest in AI?
Uh, Substack?
Mm.
Like, can we talk about how good the content is on Substack these days? A
Oh,
lot of the stuff I'm like learning is LinkedIn, and a lot of where I get a lot of content right now is LinkedIn. And I'll be honest, I'm a self-learner. So I
yeah.
have to like really figure out by trying and mostly like banging my head against a wall. And that's how I learn things best. There's a bunch of really AI native people on our marketing team, and we tried to do lots of like show don't tells so we can
Oh,
all
nice.
learn from the people who are like really getting it faster.
Yeah.
But for content and stuff right now, I'm just really loving Substack and like the content that's there.
Yeah, yeah, same. I mean, Substack's been great, and probably my feed is all AI because that's all I care about right now. But
Exactly. Yeah, and you just started your newsletter too. What a layup, hey?
yeah, yeah, exactly. That's right. That's right. Our last question: what is your biggest challenge right now with AI?
Um, I find it really hard with the pace of development. I actually find it really hard when you don't know where the ground is below you, like beneath you.
Mm,
I find it hard. It can be a little paralyzing sometimes to figure out, okay, so what should we do next, or what should we be building, hoping that it's going to be useful a month, 3 months, whatever months from now. So it's more of like a mental thing that I find challenging. And that's probably like in SaaS, just like existentially a little bit right now.
yeah,
It's like when
yeah,
there's
for
so
sure.
much moving around you and you don't feel like you understand the field you're playing on because it keeps shifting, just like a little bit mentally hard. You can waste cycles kind of spinning out in your head a bit.
Yeah, for sure. Like when I was trying to dive into MCPs a few weeks ago, and I was like, God, I'm wasting so much time. I'm not technical enough for this. And then I finally got something to work, and I was excited. And it was the most basic thing. And then I thought to myself, you know what? Like 3 weeks, 3 months from now, like I bet this is gonna be so standard, and someone's gonna make it so easy that I just wasted all this time trying to figure this out. And
Yeah,
then, it'll be standard in a few
it's like
weeks.
exactly that. So you spend this time thinking like, should I try building this stuff right now? Or, am I gonna, is something gonna get dropped next week that all that time will have been a little bit futile. So it's trying to like
Yeah,
think
like
through that a
you
bit.
just don't know. But I'd
Yeah.
rather be figuring it out, playing with things, and yeah, something from that always will transfer to something else. So I think it's still valuable, but yeah, I still get anxious and nervous, and yeah, beat myself up sometimes if I don't figure something out enough.
That's the thing though, but I think there's a lot of marketing leaders out there right now, and we're feeling this pressure that we should be further ahead than like that we should be further ahead.
Yeah,
Yet, and yet, when I talk to a lot of people and I see what marketing teams are really using right now, I think we're pretty like early stages. I think we can
yeah,
chill because I think 99% of teams are mostly just using ChatGPT to go back and forth with during the day. And that's it.
yep,
Like I
yep,
truly think most of the work that's being done right now is help in building like blog posts and other content and stuff like that. Like,
exactly, yeah.
so I think if you're doing anything and just playing and testing, you're moving ahead and we're just like putting this pressure on ourselves that can be a bit paralyzing,
No,
especially.
I agree. I totally agree. We gotta chill out. We gotta show ourselves some grace a little bit.
Hmm. Yeah,
Cool. Well,
totally.
Katie, thank you so much for joining us. Where can people connect with you, learn more about what you're doing at Clue, etc.?
Yeah, connect with me probably on LinkedIn is where I spend the most time. That makes sense. I might start my own little Substack one day to showcase some of this stuff and how it
Heck
works and
yeah.
some of our trials and like tribulations. But I haven't really started writing there, but you can find me on Substack as well. It's all like Katie Berg. So you'll find me.
There you go. Easy enough.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thanks
Katie.
so much for having me.
Yep.